Thank you very much, guys, first of all, for the interview. I saw the movie yesterday. I was looking forward to see it because I think we need this movie, here in our country, to make sense to the life of Leonora, all about, she deserved the movie. I think so. In what way did you create this, the way it's going to look, the movie? Because first of all, it's based on the life of a painter, so that put a little bit of pressure on filmmakers. What are we going to do? Are we going to base on her work, or are we going to have our own look for the movie? I want you guys to tell me about this experience in this department.
Before there was cinema, there was painting. So it's the highest form of visual conception before cinema came about. So it's also always, when you deal with a painter, is a challenge because you want to match that kind of visual aesthetic. And so for us, that was in the beginning already a very, very important thought when we were in Las Posas for the first time, and we saw this exceptional place that nowhere else in the world could exist but in Mexico, and you saw all these references of the painters. We always called it amongst ourselves, it's like a liquid painting, and that's what we also wanted the film to feel like. And when it comes to the film itself, for me, there was one rule that followed me or us through the whole process, and that's this sentence that Leonora said, don't intellectualize my art. Uh-huh. And whenever I was working on scenes and correcting scenes, I heard this voice in my head, and I knew if I do something wrong now, she will be angry. So that was really important to not try to over-explain things, because we live in a time where, especially in TV and also in cinema, where everything gets explained and you get prequels and sequels and everything, and it's not the mystery is gone, the mysticism is gone, and I wanted our biggest goal was to leave the mysticism and to create a film that is really that you can feel and experience, and that leaves the mysticism there. That was our starting point.
I love it. I love the film very much. Elena, is it true that did you find the Elena Poniatowska's book randomly, just by coincidence? Is that true?
So half true. So I discovered Leonora Carrington. I saw a painting of her, the self-portrait with the hyena and the horse, and then I told Thor about Leonora Carrington and what an amazing woman she was and an artist, and maybe we could look into making a movie about her, but we didn't know enough about her. So Thor actually, after a while, I think it took a year until he stumbled upon the book in a library in Berlin, by Elena Poniatowska, and he started to read while I was shooting an Indian film in Delhi, in India, and he called me and said, I just started this book about Leonora Carrington by Elena Poniatowska, and I'm, I think, on page 20, and it's so visual already. I think we should look into getting the option to the novel. And then I was like, okay, I'll try to find out, and only then I realized how big Elena Poniatowska is in the whole Spanish language territories, and of course that she is a treasure in Mexico.
Yeah, one of our nation's treasures.
Yes, yeah. So I think what we did next is basically, okay, we thought we need to fly to Mexico and convince her that we're the right people to turn her novel into a film, and we were very lucky that actually Elena Poniatowska was extremely welcoming. The first meeting was already having tea in her living room, and she gave us her blessing.
I just want to tell you something, guys. Remedios Varo is one of my favorite painters in my life, in my whole world. And Cassandra is one of my favorite actresses.
Perfect match.
The perfect match. And I was very surprised because I didn't know. Yes. I started watching the movie, and I saw Cassandra and said, oh, that's very interesting. The movie is going to be fine, acting, speaking. And then she starts speaking like Remedios Varo. I'm Remedios Varo. Y la pregunta es esta, ¿sí llega un momento donde te tienes que quitar la presión de voy a interpretar a este ícono del mundo artístico mexicano?
Sí. Pues yo soy igual que tú. Remedios Varo ha sido toda la vida como de mis pintoras favoritas, y no es que mi pintora favorita. La amo, la quiero. Y
qué cosa, ¿no?
No, es que es increíble de lo que nos habla y de los mundos que nos habla y nos platica, ¿no? Ambas dos.
Y te puedes quedar horas viendo un cuadro de Remedios Varo, ¿estás de acuerdo?
Sí, sí. Pero no hay mucho registro audiovisual de ella. Entonces no sabemos ni cómo hablaba, ni cómo se movía, ni nada. Justo había un documental en la Cineteca que hizo Tufik Makluf sobre ella, que tuve oportunidad de ver y de hablar con Tufik también. Y nada, hablábamos de eso, de que no hay cómo saber. Entonces, a lo que tuve acceso eran a libros. Justo estaba leyendo el libro de Upensky, de La posible evolución del hombre, en ese momento, y en el documental sale que es un libro que ella leía un montón, porque ella dibuja mucho estos hilos que mueven a los personajes, y entonces Upensky habla mucho sobre la conciencia y si realmente somos capaces de movernos por nuestra propia voluntad o si hay una voluntad mayor que nos mueve. Y es muy impresionante ese libro, si tienen oportunidad de leerlo, lo recomiendo mucho. Pero son los mundos de ella. Entonces fue más acercarme hacia los libros a los que ella se acercaba, sus filosofías de vida, para poderla interpretar, y por supuesto su signo y cosas así, que me da la impresión de que era una persona muy calurosa y como muy amorosa.
Watching the movie, I become very thoughtful, and paradoxically, the art can help right now someone watching her work. Isn't that beautiful?
It's very beautiful. And I think to a degree, the story of Leonora is also a very typical story for the 20th century, because we live in this very materialistic in these very materialistic times where we try to get to the bottom of the mechanistic, how the world works, but then there's a spiritual void that everybody feels. And I think Leonora's work is also gives so much to people these days, because she was facing these questions by herself. She was very afraid of death. She came to Mexico, and in Europe you have a different relationship with death. It's in a room, the door is closed, you only talk about it when you have to. And in Mexico there is a much more open relationship with death. And I think that was very liberating for Leonora, and also inspiring. And I think that's I can certainly speak for myself. I try to make sense of death, and I feel very strongly about Leonora also because of that. I can see that she put all these questions into her paintings, and the art is so personal that I think it still hits people so deep.
Cas, el carácter internacional que tiene la producción, obviamente no pensaste mucho en participar en una película con estas características, y sobre todo interpretando el personaje que interpretas y que se trata de la vida de Leonora Carrington, ¿no?
Sí, o sea, yo la verdad es que casi dije que sí antes de leer el guión, porque pues era Remedios Varo, era Leonora Carrington y un libro de Elena Poniatowska. Yo no conocía el libro de Elena, había leído el de su sobrina, el de Juliana Moore. ¿Juliana? Juliana Moore. Y bueno, ya leí el de Elena, pero como o sea, siento que se tienen que hacer 20,000 películas sobre ella.
Exacto.
O sea, da igual si es una que se está haciendo ahorita, que maravilloso, por supuesto, hagámosla, pero se tienen que seguir contando sus historias desde los 27 ángulos desde donde se pueden ver las historias de ellas, ¿no?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Gracias, Cas.
Gracias, Oscar.